I love to talk about this, but you ever been constipated and you can't breathe and everything is tight and you're sweating and you can't sit down and you're uncomfortable. And then when you finally release and you finally have that final drop, I'm sorry to get graphic, but this is how it feels. And you finally have that space that was stuffing and stopping and stalling up your stomach, and it's finally, it's out. And now you feel like you conquer the world. You feel like now you can eat. You feel, you just feel free. We have all been there. I know you don't want to talk about your experience. I'll talk about mine, but I know what it is to be, whew, that feels good. Because the feeling of the constipation before was horrible. That is how forgiveness feels. You finally have the space in the room to do things you couldn't do when you were stopped up.
You are here. Welcome to the Purpose Finder podcast. This is the show where we uncover why you are truly here and, more importantly, how to make it your reality. My father, the late Dr. Miles Munroe, said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. And research further shows that people with a strong sense of purpose are 2.4 times more likely to feel fulfilled. Each week, I sit down with extraordinary guests, entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders who are boldly living their why. We dive deep into their journeys, the struggles they have overcome, their breakthroughs, and the lessons that can help you do the same. I am your beautiful host, Charisa Munroe-Wilborn, and we're about to explore the mindsets, tools, and strategies to help you live a life with purpose, passion, and legacy. Are you ready? Let's go and dive into the episode.
And we are here for another great episode of the Purpose Finder podcast, where you know that our mission is simple: to inspire you to find and uncover your life's purpose and to live a life overflowing with those three major things: meaning, fulfillment, and significance. Why so important? Because deep down, we all crave belonging. No one wants to feel unfulfilled. And we are all searching, asking that big question: why in the world am I here? Well, I hope you allow your question to be answered right here on this podcast. I am your host, Charisa Munroe-Wilborn, and it is going to be an amazing episode. It's a special episode. It's just going to be me today, but it's going to be a big one. And it's going to be one of those episodes that becomes a turning point if you have ever imagine it. And I hope you allow it to be the turning point in your life as you settle down and digress and start to close out this year and prepare for what's coming in the new year. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to share my heart, share my thoughts, and also maybe share things that I haven't really finished thinking through yet. But I thought I would bring you into how I'm digressing and how I'm ending this year. And so I'm entitling this podcast, Ending the Year Unstoppable. If you've been following me on other projects that I'm working on or across other platforms, you know that I talk about becoming unstoppable. And I talk about becoming unstoppable because there's a certain type of person that becomes unstoppable. There's a certain type of attitude. There's a certain mindset. There's a certain mentality. There are certain situations, and there are certain decisions, choices that we make that describes the characteristic of what an unstoppable person looks like. And I want you to be unstoppable in every area of your life. I want you to be unstoppable in pursuing why you are here and who you are. And one of the best ways to do that is to reflect on the year, the month, the days, the weeks prior to, as you're leading into a new year, into a new month, into a new week. And so we are coming down to the end of the year. And I thought, what would be something I would want to share? What is it that I'm using to help me? And I want to talk about ending the year unstoppable. And what are those 7 decisions that we are going to make? We're not going to end the year broken. We're not going to end the year defeated. Those things may have happened during the year. You may have felt that way. You may have been disappointed throughout the year, but we're not going to end this year defeated, broken, and disappointed. We're going to end this year completely unstoppable. We're not going to start to become unstoppable next year. We're going to start right now. There are still so many days left. And why not capitalize on them? So we're going to end this year how? Unstoppable. And I want to share with you some of the decisions that I've been working on making right now, not January 1, not even December 31st, but right now. And I believe that everything in me is telling me that the way a year ends is determined by my decisions, and that is going to determine my posture in how I start the next year. So if that is the case, then I need to get on it. We need to get on it. So we're not going to look at circumstances. Yes, we want to consider that. We want to consider outcomes, but we're not going to look at that. Not even the mistakes. Our posture and how we move into the next year, our decisions, the level of courage that we have, how we end the year will determine what that looks like. And so as we walk through these 7 courage decisions, is what I'm going to call them, decisions that if you make them before January 1, and I'm going to challenge you to make them before December 31st, that you can actually shift your life completely. You can shift your purpose. And when you shift and you up level your purpose, your momentum and your confidence gets through the roof. And we're not talking resolutions. I'm not talking the new decision that you're making and then you're not going to continue it, because we all have New Year's resolutions. That's one thing that's different. I'm talking about what are those courage, and I say courage decisions because it's the decisions that you probably should have made this year, but you've been held back by lack of confidence. You've been held back by fear. You've been held back by the naysayers. You've been held back by needing permission. You've been held back by your own mind, your own past, your own guilt. I'm talking about those decisions, not a wish list. I'm talking about the decisions that is going to require you to take a little bit of courage. And those decisions that when you make them, it's going to give you the outcome, they're going to give you the resolve, and it's going to get you closer to your destiny. And as we talk, and this is all about purpose, this entire podcast is about this for a reason. And so when we talk about purpose, once you discover purpose and you're on that purpose journey, then everything else falls into place. The decisions you make, the calls you answer, the attitude that you acquire, the language that you decide to move and groove with. And so the decisions that you make, like every part of your life, is because of a decision or a combination of decisions that you are making. So I hope that by the end of this episode, you can create what I'm going to call just a contract, an agreement with yourself. And we can call it a purpose contract with yourself, that you are going to set the tone before we move into the next year. And this can go for this year, this can go for the end of next year and the end of next year. You can keep creating and you can keep re-establishing this purpose contract with yourself, because you're going to make whatever decisions is needed to move closer to your destiny. So let's look at those decisions. And decision number 1 is the decision to release what no longer fits your future. Let me repeat that. You are going to make the decision to release what no longer fits your future, which automatically means that you have to have an idea of what does your future look like. And that can come in the form of vision. So as we talk about purpose, we also talk about vision. We talk about vision, we talk about leadership. All of these things are entitled, because if you can get a glimpse of the future that you want to create for yourself, but also the legacy you want to leave behind, then you start to make decisions that get you closer to that. And then you start to get rid of things that don't fit into that vision. And It's the first courage decision that we make. It may sound simple, but it's not easy because I'm asking you to release something, which also means that I'm encouraging you to let go. And we all know that letting go of the things that we've held on, the things that have become part of our identity, the things that we've held on for so long, the things that we feel are a part of who we are, the things that feel good, and I'm asking you to let it go, that's not always an easy task. But there are times when we're going to have to make the decision to release dead weight. And that can be figuratively or literally. It can be true pounds that you have, the extra pounds you don't need, or it can be the weight of relationships. It can be the weight of negative thinking. It can be the weight of of pessimism. It can be the weight of lack. It can be the weight of needing permission. It can be the weight of not having confidence. It can be the weight of unforgiveness. It can be the weight of resentment. These are the things that we're saying that we are choosing to release because they don't fit our future. What friendships have expired? Oh, it's a good one. Because as you grow, there are going to be one or two friendships that don't fit the person you are becoming. And if we're talking about becoming unstoppable, then we're talking about what is it that's no longer fitting? Yeah, this friendship worked for the last 25 years, but for the next 5, 10 years of my life, it may not fit in. Am I willing to take that bold, courageous step and make the decision to release it? Are you willing to let go of the version of you that survived the year, the entire year, but that won't take you into the next one? And I know that some of you are carrying these things and God has been trying to release them from your hands and you are holding so tight. And He is like, baby girl, baby boy, I have so much for you, but I need you to release so that you have more space to receive. And here's the truth: you can enter the next year holding on to the pain of this year, holding on to the past of the year before, holding on to the habits of the year before that. And you can move into next year becoming unstoppable, holding on to old identities of the year before it. So letting go does not mean, is it going to hurt? Absolutely. Is it going to feel bad? Yes. You're going to go through a whole grief ceremony. Let me encourage you. Let me forewarn you. Yes. When you're letting go and you're saying goodbye and you're dying to self and growing to something else, um, there will be this feeling of loss. And it may feel like loss and it'll be temporary. It won't be permanent, but you will feel grief. And it depends on how you look at it, because letting go doesn't have to be loss if you are thinking about picking up alignment. So remember, I say, when you want to feel unstoppable or when you want to become unstoppable, there's a certain way of thinking, there's a certain attitude. And so if I'm thinking that I want to be unstoppable, then I'm no longer going to look at what I need to release as loss. I'm going to look at it as alignment. I'm not going to look at it as weakness. I'm going to look at it as wisdom. I'm not going to look at it as rejection. Maybe I'm going to look at it as redirection. And that's what purpose does. That's what making courageous decisions does. And so I want you to ask yourself, what am I still holding on to right now that's blocking the future that I prayed for? Not the future that you paid for, but what are you holding now that's blocking the future that you prayed for? And I'm going to give you a moment. Just think about it. Because there are going to be some times when there's going to be pressure and it's not going to feel good, which is why I call these 7 courageous decisions. And release is going to require courage. But release is always going to be the road to becoming unstoppable. Decision number 2, the decision to forgive. I know this is a big one. We all struggle with it. I'm telling you, these decisions are also decision. People, please hear me. I'm not talking at you. We are having a conversation. I'm talking with you. So in the chat, if any of these resonate with you, please say yes. In the comment section, please say that's me, because these are me. I'm having to make these decisions right now before I leave this year, because I know going into next year, I have to have made a decision and I have to be moving forward. And so when I talk about decision number 2 being the courageous decision to forgive, let me tell you something. Talk about the first one not being easy. This one definitely is not easy. And I'm talking about that forgiveness where there's no apology. Because there are times when we forgive and we're automatically expecting the other person or the other persons to say, you know what, I'm sorry. What if you never get that? I'm sorry. Are you still willing to forgive? And forgiveness should not be a seasonal thing. It shouldn't be just at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. Like, imagine if God only forgave us at a certain time of the year. Like, we would be holding guilt and shame for forever. But he forgives us all the time. We hear it in the scriptures, there's a number to it, 70 times 7. He forgives, and then he throws it into the sea of forgetfulness. Now, forgiveness and forgetfulness are two different things. I always tell people, I'm not God, I'm not Jesus, so I'm still working on the forgetting part. But the forgiveness part is my responsibility. And if God can forgive me daily, I should try to do the same. So I encourage you to do the same thing. If you want to become unstoppable, you have to make room. You have to clear the space in your heart and your mind and your soul for purpose to grow. And forgiveness can be one of those things that can be very constipating. It can stop you up. It can stall you up. And so just decide, just make the decision that, you know what, I've been waiting for this person to say sorry to me before I forgive them. And for the first time, you're going to say, you know what, without their apology, I'm going to say, you don't have to say it to them, but to yourself and to God, I forgive you or I forgive them. And sometimes it's also, I forgive myself. And hear me when I say forgiveness does not free them, but it frees you. We're not worried. When it comes to becoming unstoppable, I'm putting you first. Yeah, sometimes we may wonder, well, if I forgive them, they're off the hook. No, no, no. Actually, when you forgive them, you're off the hook. You are free. And forgiveness isn't saying, well, what they did was okay and how they made me feel was okay, but it's saying what you do will no longer control me. It will no longer own me. And so you're freeing yourself so that you can grow in purpose, so that you can grow in destiny, so that you can grow in vision, moving closer to your future. Some of you may need to forgive people who will never acknowledge what they did. You may need to forgive people who are no longer alive. You may need to forgive yourself. You may need to forgive the versions of you that you no longer recognize. And then it begins to, like, you ever been, I love to talk about this, but you ever been constipated and you can't breathe and everything is tight and you're sweating and you can't sit down and you're uncomfortable. And then when you finally release and you finally have that final drop, I'm sorry to get graphic, but this is how it feels. And you finally have that space that was that was like stuffing and stopping and stalling up your stomach, that it's finally it's out, and now you feel like you conquer the world. You feel like now you can eat. You feel you just feel free. We have all been there. I know you don't want to talk about your experience. I'll talk about mine, but I know what it is to be. Whew, that feels good, because the feeling of the constipation before was horrible. That is how forgiveness feels. You finally have the space in the room to do the things you couldn't do when you were stopped up. And this may be your wanting to recognize what that feeling is. You may be trying to say, man, Charisa, I can't figure out why I've been so stuck. Why I've been so stuck. So what I talk about a lot is stuck to unstoppable. And so many of us are stuck up in so many different levels. And the reason why you're stuck is because there are going to be 7 decisions that's been holding you back that you haven't made. We talked about the first one being release things that don't get you into your future. And then the second one being just releasing others and forgiving them so that you can release and free yourself. So allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to be able to breathe. Allow yourself to release the emotional captivity before the end of this year. Number 3, that third that courageous decision that you must make is the decision to start what God has been telling you to start. And one of the things that I've been struggling with, I remember so many years ago, I was encouraged, and I know that it was God. I know that now. I didn't know it then, to start this very podcast. Like, this podcast could have had some age on it, but I was afraid. Didn't have the confidence. I didn't think that people would listen to what I have to say. I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. Podcast was still new, and so I was like, it's not my thing. But God had been nudging me for some time. And this year, beginning of this year, I made the courageous decision to start what he had been telling me to start. And once I did that, it created a domino effect for all the other projects and things and vision that he would have of the things that I should start going forward. And so now there is something else in the pipeline that he's telling me to start. And I need to make the decision, and I think I've already made it, actually, going into next year, what that's going to be. And let me tell you, we all procrastinate, and we find beautiful, sexy excuses as to why we shouldn't start something, haven't started something. For me, for a long time, it was perfectionism. Like, I had to be perfect. And if it wasn't perfect, then I wasn't going to do it, because to me, perfect equaled excellence. And then I got some wisdom and realized that perfection and excellence are two totally different things. Sometimes they don't even live on the same street. And once I started recognizing that excellence was more important to me than perfection, then I started moving. Then I started doing, and then I started starting things. And God started, opening up the world of opportunities and possibilities. And so I encourage you, is there a decision that you have to make? Is there something that God has been telling you to start and you're waiting for January? Is there something that God is telling you to start and you're waiting for February? Is there something God is telling you to start and you're waiting for Q1? Because Q1 sounds more sexy than Q4. Are you waiting for clarity? Because for me, it was clarity. For me, it was confidence. For me, it was perfection. Are you waiting for confirmation? Do you need 5,000 different people to tell you? Are you waiting for approval? Are you waiting for permission? What is it that's stopping you back, that you're saying, I'm going to wait? I'm going to wait. Or are you waiting for courage? And that might be the very thing. And the instruction hasn't changed. God is telling you, start. I just need you to start. Start the thing. Start the book. Start the podcast. Start the business. Start the idea. Start the healing. Start the healing process. Start the transformation process. Start to be obedient. It's one thing that I put in one of my books. I talk about it often. My dad made this quote some time ago, and it was the quote that got me to even write this book. And it says, if you don't attempt things, you don't attract God. And many times, I know we think that God isn't here, or God won't provide, or I don't have what it needs. I don't have what I need to do this. I don't have what it takes to do this. And God isn't here because the people aren't here and nobody's buying. And there's all these excuses. And God is saying, man, it's there. I just need you to start. I just need you to start the thing that I'm telling you to start. And then it's going to attract all of my blessings. It's going to attract all the favor. It's going to attract all the people I have for you. It's going to attract the money. It's going to attract everything. But you just need to start. And one thing I recognize is destiny moves at the speed of instruction. Destiny moves at the rate of your obedience. And I'm not talking about your obedience to your own self, your own thinking. I'm talking about your obedience to a higher power than you. And for me, that's God. Like, when God tells me something, and obedience is following an instruction right away, or following an instruction at that time. I've been obedient to my parents often, but there have been times when delayed obedience got me into more problems. So yeah, I may have done what they said, but they said it 5 minutes ago. So why are you still there? That's a problem. And now it's funny. I have a 2-year-old going on 3. Actually, she's going on 30. And I would tell her to do something, and she would just move at her own pace, and nothing irks me more. But I see young Charisa in her, because that used to be me. And it was that season of my life where my mom and my dad had to train. They had to teach, like when the Bible talks about train up a child in the way they should go. They had to teach me what obedience was. They had to train. I had to go through uh, hell and high water to understand that obedience is doing it, but doing it like at that time right away. And God is saying, I need you to start. I don't need you to start next year. I don't need you to wait till January. I don't need you to wait till December 1st or 31st. I need you to do it like right now because I have a open window for you. And I'm hoping that you give me that so that I can show you my favor before the year ends. Like this is God talking. And so many times we're not listening to him. And so I encourage you, just start the thing and stop waiting. Start the thing and stop procrastinating. Start the thing and stop making excuses. And the longer you wait to start, the longer you delay the answer you've been asking for, the favor, the blessing. Like ask yourself, what have I been delaying that requires my obedience today? And guys, like I said, I'm talking to myself. So what have you been delaying that requires your obedience today?
Hey, purpose seekers. If today's conversation has you thinking about your purpose, what it is, how to find it, and how to truly live it, then I have something special just for you. Introducing the Purpose Finder Formula. And you have free access to this 20-minute training designed to help you uncover your purpose and start living it with confidence. No fluff, no guesswork. It's clear, practical, step-by-step guide to finding meaning and gaining clarity and direction. Your purpose is calling. Are you ready? Head over to www.charisamunroe.com/purpose finder formula. Enter your info and I'll send it straight to your inbox. Imagine waking up every day knowing your life has meaning, impact, and joy. That's what awaits you. So don't wait. Grab your free training today. Let's get back to the episode.
Question number 4, courageous decision. Number 4 that you must make, the decision to stop the habits that are sabotaging your purpose. Remember, I started this episode by saying, if you want to become unstoppable, you want to go from stuck to unstoppable and become an unstoppable person leaving the end of this year, going into next year, you have to have certain attitude, a certain way of thinking, a certain mentality, and there are going to be certain habits that you have to adapt, that you have to engage in if you want to result in the unstoppable person that you want. And some of those habits you may be doing now, but there are some habits that are sabotaging all the good habits you're doing and is sabotaging you from living in the purpose that you're discovering. And this is a good one that people skip. And I say people skip because creating new habits, exchanging old habits for habits that you're not used to is not it may be simple, but it's not a quick process. And so we're in a day and age where people want things quick. They want things right away. If it don't happen in a microwavable format, then I'm not interested. But keep in mind, you've been doing the one habit for the last 30 years of your life. So we're saying for the next 30 years, you want to be unstoppable and you want to be different. You want something new to happen. Then you're going to have to do something new because I know you're not crazy. So you're not going to try and do the same thing you've been doing and still want a different result. So what new habit are you going to stop? And I'm gonna challenge even that word, exchange, because what we never want to stop what we've been doing without picking up something else. And so I'm going to use the word exchange. What old habit are you going to exchange for a new habit that's gonna no longer sabotage your purpose? And it's uncomfortable. Starting something new, picking up new way of thinking, picking up new habits and actions and things that you do in life. It's very uncomfortable. But to become unstoppable, comfortability is going to keep you stuck. You must be willing to go through the cycles of being comfortable and then being uncomfortable and stop those cycles that make it easy. Like sometimes easy, I saw something, this meme today, and it was very interesting. I never thought about this way. But it says the road to heaven is hell. and the road to hell is heaven. I'm going to let you guys sit with that for a minute. The road to heaven, the journey to heaven is hell, but the journey to hell feels like heaven. I want you to sit with it. And I thought about it and I smiled. I smiled because it was so true. When you discover purpose, when you discover who you are, when you have realized that you were born to become a leader, you were born for a purpose, when you figure all of that out, you become a target, believe it or not. You become the very thing the enemy is after. You are tested by God and by man. And so it feels like hell. If and people are like, man, if this is the road to me becoming saved, if this is the road to me discovering my purpose, if this is the road to me discovering my gifts and actually using them, then I would prefer not to have this road because it's too hard, it's too difficult, it's too hell. But it's the one road, which is why it's the road that is most narrow. That road that leads to the right way. But when you think about the road to hell, if you will, um, it feels great. Doing all of those things that the Bible talks about not doing. Sexual immorality, the physical immorality, the any sin against God's word feels good. And usually that is the wider road because that feels like heaven. But it is the wider road that leads to destruction. And that's why I'm talking about these 7 decisions. And they're courageous decisions because they require you to grow up very quickly. They require you to not want to be uncomfortable, and they require you to not sabotage your life. You've done that for a long time. Are you going to continue to sabotage your life? So I encourage you to stop those habits, those little decisions. And then habits are the small decisions that you make over and over and over and over again. Are you being disobedient to the calling of God? Are you being disobedient to as a child to your parents? Are you overcommitting? Are you overthinking? These are the way and the habits, what habits can look like. Okay. Are you being a procrastinator? Are you emotionally self-sabotaging? Are you emotionally sabotaging others? Are you saying yes too quickly? Are you saying no too quickly? Are you not saying yes or no at all? Are you staying loyal to dysfunction? Are you staying loyal to drama? Are you avoiding those necessary conversations? These are habits that we are making that we don't think about because they make us feel good. Avoiding those hard conversations make you feel comfortable. So hard conversations make you uncomfortable, so you run from them. So that's so weird. So some of us may have a habit of overcommitting, overthinking, wanting to be comfortable. But if you want to be unstoppable in discovering your purpose, in increasing your momentum in life, in getting closer to your destiny, then it's going to require you picking up those habits that are going to be uncomfortable for a moment. And I know sometimes for me, uh, I'm one of those who don't like to have the hard conversations, but I will have them. I don't like to have them, but I will have them. I wasn't always that way. I just wouldn't have them at all, and I would avoid them, and then I would be upset and I would complain about why I can't, or why am I not getting the results that I want, or I'm not going where I want to go. And part of it was because, Charissa, you want to be uncomfortable and you want to make sure that you please everybody else. And I had to stop pleasing people. It was a decision that I had to make. And once I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore, let me tell you, life became so much better. And so sometimes the most spiritual, the most important thing you could do is to stop doing what's killing your purpose. And sometimes that killing can be very silent. I talk about the silent killers of purpose. What are those habits that are stealing your momentum? What are those habits that's stealing your purpose? What are those habits that's killing your vision? What are those habits that you must stop doing before the year ends? Think about it. Question number 5. The decision, what is the courageous decision that you are going to recommit to what matters most? And this is a decision that's all about value. And I can't tell you what's your value system. I can't tell you what's more valuable to you, what's more important to you versus what's more important to the next person, what's important to me. But I want you to think about it. Think about your own value system, whatever, and then prioritize it. So, what's your value system? For me, my value system at this very moment, because my value system changes from season to season, from year to year, from age to age. So, right now, my value, three of my values, for instance, is family, and God is automatic. So I don't want to say God like it's cliche. God is gonna always be that is just where it starts, and then like that's zero. My spiritual life with God, and then my family is gonna always kind of always gonna be there, but it's kind of right there. It's number one right now, and then number two is my value right now is self growth. That's my value right now. And then my next value is going to be my business. So because that's my value, and it could be in any order, doesn't have to necessarily have to be in that order, but I'm recommitting to those three things. What are you recommitting to? Before the year is out, think about it. Allow yourself to make yourself figure out what are your values are, prioritize them if you want to, and then recommit. I'm not talking about a dramatic yes. I'm not talking about an emotional yes. I'm talking about what are you committing to, and what are you going to be able to recommit to consistently. Alignment is also a very big value for me right now. It's been so maybe for the last 5 years, and being aligned with my purpose, making sure that the decisions I make are aligned with who I am becoming. Um, in the last 5 years, I became a wife. In the last 5 years, I became a mother. In the last 5 years, I became a mother then of two. In the last 5 years, my business has grown. So there's a lot that has happened. So my identities have changed. Therefore, my values have changed. And so because my values have changed, I've had to commit and then recommit. And then even going into 2026, there's going to be some recommitting that I have to do as well because things are changing in my life. Are they aligned? Is important to me. So are you recommitting to the things that are aligned with your purpose? You may need to recommit to your health. Think about the different areas of your life. You may need to recommit your spiritual life. You may need to recommit your calling, your family. You may need to recommit your leadership, your boundaries. Big one. Figure out what your boundaries need to look like. Boundaries look like yes, boundaries look like no, boundaries look like setting time, boundaries look like not today, boundaries like are you recommitting to your own boundaries? Are you committing to your finances? Are you recommitting to rest? Um, Another value of mine, if I had to give 5 values, is rest. And I have to figure out what that looks like. And it's going to be a big decision that I must make going into next year because I just said to you, in the last 5 years, I became a wife, I became a mother, and then I became a mother of two. I separate those two because they're two different identities. The mother of two that I am is not the same mother who was a mother of one. And so all of my kids are under three right now. I have two, and rest. What's that? But I'm making it a value. I need to decide if I'm going to make it a value of mine because rest is going to be very important for the work that I'm doing from a purpose perspective. And so I have to start to think, Charissa, are you willing to make the courageous decision that's going to mean you're going to get some rest? In taking that rest, the reason why my decision is slow with a little bit of scare is because there's going to be some sacrifices that I must make on the other end. There's going to be some boundaries that I must recommit to. Am I willing? Or can I just make the decision and then say, Charissa, we will deal with the crumbs afterwards? These are why I say these are courageous decisions that I too am working on. So I'm just bringing you on my journey as I conclude my year. And so that is decision number 5. Now we're on the last two. Decision number 6. Are you going to make the decision to raise your standard? And I'm talking in all areas of your life. And when you think about this, think about To become unstoppable, you have to have a certain kind of attitude. I'm going to keep saying it, a certain way of thinking, a different perspective. You're going to have a new way of thinking, a new process of making decisions. Like you're going to have a new standard, especially when you go from year to year, season to season, identity to identity, person to person. What standard are you willing to say, you know what? We've been here for a while. It's time to raise. It's time to raise the price. It's time to raise the momentum. It's time to raise the standard. What standard are you going to raise? And I'm talking about the standard for yourself, to speak up for yourself, to speak to yourself, the standard on how you're going to let people go. And I'm talking about, remember when I said, as we talk about becoming unstoppable, it's all about you first. Because how you are, who you become, is what people get to witness. Who you become is what people get to experience. So I'm really concerned about who you are becoming, because God is concerned about who you are becoming if He wants you to be the fruit that He exposes to everybody else. So the standard, the way you have been doing things is status quo right now. So what standard are you going to get to where it's top notch for the unstoppable person you are becoming? So the standard of how you talk to yourself, are you going to raise that? The standard of how you let people treat you, are you going to raise that standard? The standard of how you show up, the standard of your excellence, the standard of who you allow to monopolize your time, the standard of how you live, how you work, how you lead, how you play. How are you going to raise the standard so that it matches the level of unstoppable you are becoming? And your future is going to require a version of you that no longer negotiates with the mediocrity. So if we're saying we're not negotiating with the average, then that means we're raising our standard. Are you willing to raise your standard? Are you willing to make the decision? Because you don't have to. But know that when you make the decision, there's some work that goes to it. When you make the decision, are you willing to now accept the opportunities that are going to come, the expansion that's going to happen? Are you ready for the possibilities that have been waiting for you for so long? And I want you to hear me. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your standard. It is your standard that's going to get you to your goals and beyond. So some of you, just like myself, some of you need to raise your standard for your relationships, for your boundaries, for your discipline. Let me tell you something. One of the things, and this is probably my value number 6, is recommitting to my health and recommitting to getting my body aesthetically looking right, but so I can feel better after having 2 children. And I'm going to have to raise the level or the standard of discipline that I've been having or not having over the last 3-4 years. That's going to take a major decision. So I've already been making the decision in my mind to start going to the gym, to stop eating the amount of sugar, to drink more water. Because I know that these are the things, especially now that I'm getting older, and now I have 2 children I want to make sure I can live for. And then I have you who are waiting to continue to eat from the fruit that I'm producing. I'm going to have to recommit to taking care of myself, taking care of my health. That's going to require a certain level of discipline that I don't have at the moment. But I am making the courageous decision to up level and increase the standard of my discipline. You, as an unstoppable person that you are becoming, you need to raise the standard of your excellence, of your consistency. And ultimately, all of us, I know daily, day in, day out, we need to raise the standard of our faith. I encourage you, because as you make these courageous decisions, they are going to require a higher level of faith than you've been living in. And January 1st is not the day to start. December 31st is not the day to start. You need to decide now. And then you need to decide who you no longer want to be. So I encourage you to ask yourself, what must I raise in order to rise? which also means you must decide how far do you want to rise. And then that'll determine who you decide to raise. And our last courageous decision, number 7, is the decision to believe bigger. And I'm talking believing bigger without there being any experience or without there being any evidence. Are you willing to decide to believe bigger, to believe in the God in you that's bigger than you, to believe in the work that He has invested in you, to believe in the purpose that He has placed on the side of you? And this is one of those decisions that activates everybody else. So this is you believing in you, but this is the one that also spills out to the other people around you. And if you want to end the year unstoppable, you need a certain belief system that's going to support your next level. Let me tell you guys, there's some goals that I have for my personal life and for my professional life next year. The level of abundance and increase in those two areas that I am objecting for next year, projecting for next year. The current belief system that I had this year did me well for this year. That belief system, and I have no idea what is going to happen. Like, I have never been there before. The goals I'm setting are new goals I've never had before. They're bigger goals, but I am choosing to believe that it's already done and they're going to happen. And the discipline that I'm going to have to raise the standard for, it's going to happen. And I'm going to meet, I'm going to have all the goals that I set forth, the expectations, and some. And it's going to require, y'all think I'm unstoppable now. Like, next year, we ain't seeing nothing yet. But that belief system that I need to have for next year to support that next level is is on 1,000. I can't even say on 10. So I encourage you. I ask you, what belief system do you need right now to support the next level that isn't even here yet? And no, we don't want those sexy excuses. We don't need the beautiful, I don't know. No, because guess what? When you want to believe in something bigger, you don't need proof. Let me be the voice in your head that encourages you. You don't need proof. You don't need the applause. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. Like, God chose you to be you. God chose you to become, and God chose you for the purpose that He set forth. So you don't need proof. You just need His word. You just need His approval. You just need His validation. You just need belief in knowing that if I'm here and I'm still breathing, if you can breathe, then there's still a lot for you to do, even if you are just about to start now. And belief is one of those things that starts, like it gets things started. It starts the momentum. It is belief that it's going to fuel your passion. It's going to fuel your purpose. It's going to get the soil churning so that your identity can grow, so that your fruit can grow, so that you can grow. And it starts, sometimes it's not going to always start where you can see it. Like, it's going to actually start in the dark. It's going to start where you can't. When you think of a seed, when you take a seed and you put it in the soil, all light goes away. And now the soil is dark, which is why we must now give it light. There must be light that must be superimposed on it, because the soil itself is dark. And a seed that doesn't say, oh my goodness, it is so dark, I can't do anything. It doesn't say, oh my goodness, it is so dark, I can't grow. I don't want to grow. I'm too scared. No, it actually believes that somebody up there is going to give me what I need, and that's light. And then it gets that light, and then it does its thing. We are the seed that God planted on this earth, in this season, in this time, for this season, and also for the next generation. What are we going to do? Even in the dark, are we going to believe? You get to decide today. You get to decide today. So I ask, what's what bigger belief are you stepping into as you enter next year? What bigger belief are you stepping into as you enter next year? And I want you to think about that now before the end of the year. And so now we get to, we have all of these decisions, and I'm talking these courageous decisions that we are about to make. And now we get to seal the deal. We get to say, okay, I'm going to agree, make an agreement with myself that I'm going to do it. I'm going to make these decisions scared. I'm going to do them fearful. I'm going to do them in disbelief. If I want to believe and I'm disbelieving now, I'm still going to do them. Like, but they're in alignment. We're going to make that agreement. And so I've done this with myself already. And I kind of want to share it with you. So if you're hearing me, if you're listening, if you're driving and you just have this playing in the background or you're watching, just whisper under your breath. Um, just these following things that I'm going to say out loud, but I've said them to myself. And this is just the way that I've encouraged myself coming out of this year and going into next year. I choose courage. And you can repeat this after me. I choose courage. I choose purpose. I release what no longer serves me. I forgive what tried to break me. I start what God told me to start. I stop what sabotages my destiny. I raise my standard and I believe bigger. I am ending this year unstoppable. And I pray that all of you believe that. I hope that you receive that. And I hope that you run with that. This is your purpose contract for yourself. This is your purpose agreement to yourself that you're going to make the courageous decisions to end the year unstoppable so that you can finish next year just as unstoppable, if not even more. And so, if this episode, I hope that you can take a lot of what I've shared. If you only applied one thing to your life today, I hope that it's spoken to your spirit. I hope that something has ignited while you've been listening. And I hope that you already know the decisions that you must make. This is your season of clarity. This is your season of courage. This is your season of activation. And if you just take one thing that I've said, apply it to your life today. Like watch what your 20, uh, watch what this year is going to already be. There's still some days left in the year. There are still people who won't make it into next year. Don't let that be you unfinished. Don't let yourself go into next year. Don't let your mind, your goals, your dreams, your purpose go into next year without you planning and preparing for it. And so if you're ready to walk into next year unrecognizable, if you're ready to walk into next year unstoppable, I invite you to commit yourself to your purpose contract. Commit yourself to what you just shared and whispered to yourself, to your heart, to your soul, so that the activation within you can start. And you become this unstoppable, you become this unbreakable, you become this untouchable person that the world has been waiting for. There's so much out there for you to do. The season is ripe, the harvest is ripe, and it's waiting for you. So become unstoppable is not a personality trait. It's not a popularity test. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment to purpose. And so I hope that my words have touched, if only one life, then I would have fulfilled my purpose on this very episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I am your beautiful host, Charisa Munroe-Wilborn. Happy holidays to you. 'Tis the season. Um, I hope you have a wonderful, prosperous, abundant new year. Stay aligned, stay activated, and stay unstoppable. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I hope today's conversation lit a fire within you, because purpose isn't just something you chase. It is something you live every single day. If this episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more people on their journey to purpose. Let's continue the journey together. Join the Purpose Finder community on Facebook for exclusive insights, tools, and a tribe of purpose-driven people just like you. And remember, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Your purpose isn't far off. It's already within you. It's time for you to uncover it and live it boldly. Until next time, stay inspired, stay intentional, and keep walking in your purpose.